Before we get started with learning Android, we should get familiar with the buttons on the phone. This tutorial is using the Samsung Galaxy S3 running Android version 4.3. This should be identical for the Samsung Galaxy S4 and other similar Android phones, especially those made by Samsung. On the right side of the phone is the power button. Pressing this button while the phone is on will turn this phone screen on for use. If you're already using the phone, you can press this button to lock the phone. If the phone is powered off or the battery's been removed, you can hold this button in for a few seconds to turn the phone back on. Pressing the button once will also bring up the lock screen. On the left side of the phone is the volume button. It appears to be a single button, but it's actually two buttons. Pressing the top of the button will turn the volume up, and pressing the down side of the button will turn the volume down. At the bottom of the screen, there's only one physical button. This is the home button. If you ever get lost, press this button to get back to the home screen. Some of the other Android phones have physical buttons on the left of the home button for menu and on the right for back. The menu and back buttons on the Samsung Galaxy S3 are software buttons. If we touch on either side, we'll see the buttons come up. The back button can always be used to move back to the previous screen, and the menu button can be used to open the menu for the currently used screen. This will provide unique settings options for the app or screen that you're currently using. When you first turn on the phone, or when you pick it up after not using it for a while, you'll be greeted by the lock screen. Because the phone is a touchscreen, if there was not a lock screen, you might accidentally call somebody by the screen being pressed when in your pocket. If we swipe our finger across the screen, we'll see that the background will move and it will unlock the phone. When we first unlock the phone, we will be greeted by the home screen. This is like the desktop on your computer. This contains apps and widgets. Widgets are apps or extensions of apps that constantly update their information right on the home screen without having to have the app open. Some widgets show the time and date, provide weather, or quick access to music and playlists. There are 7 unique home screens that show up on the phone. If we look at the bottom of the phone, we will see a line with 7 dots. Each one represents a unique home screen. We can swipe to the left or right. And this will change through the available home screens. As we change the screens, we can see that the highlighted dot changes. If we move off the main home screen, we can either swipe our way back, or we can press the home button at the bottom of the phone. The home button will always return you to the default home screen. At the bottom of the screen is a set of 4 default shortcuts to the most commonly used apps, and a link to the apps installed on the phone. The default shortcuts are Phone, Contacts, Messaging, and Internet. Let's briefly review these 4 basic apps. Phone. Let's touch the phone app to launch the phone application. When the phone app opens, you will see this screen. At the top of the screen are 4 separate options with the default of keyboard selected. Keyboard is where you make a call using the number pad. Enter the number as you normally would with a regular phone. If you make a mistake, you can press the backspace button on the bottom right to delete the last number typed. When you've entered the correct number, you can press the green phone button to make the call. When you are making a call, you will see the following options. Add call. This option is used to make a conference call. After calling your first number, press this button to dial another number to conference it in. Keypad. If you need to press a key or to dial an extension or something else, you can press the keypad button to open the keypad. When finished, you can press the button again to hide it. End call. This will disconnect the line and end the call. The bottom three buttons have a horizontal bar at the bottom that is gray when the option is turned off, and will turn green when it is on. Speaker. This turns on the speakerphones feature, so you can put your phone down and talk hands-free. The speaker is on the back of the phone, so it's best to place the phone down on the surface that won't scratch it. This will allow you to hear better. Mute. Mute will block the audio so the person you are calling cannot hear what you are saying. You will still be able to hear them. Headset. This option will connect the call to a Bluetooth headset to use for making the call. You need to have a headset already set up for this option to work. A future tutorial will cover this step. Recent. This will show you a list of the recent phone numbers called on this phone. Here we just have a single call entry that we tried earlier. But as you build up a call list, it'll show up here each separate. Here we can select a previous call made from or to the phone, and we can get additional options. Let's touch to select the entry. At the top of the screen we can see the phone number listed. If we click on the number, it'll bring us back to the previous screen. At the bottom of the screen, we have a list of the calls made to or from the selected phone number. In the middle of the screen we have two buttons. One is a green phone icon used to call this number. The other orange letter icon is used to send a text message. At the top we have two buttons. One says Create Contact and is used to create a new contact in the phone. Update Existing. The Update Existing button is used to add a new number, such as a cell phone number, to an existing home phone number. Let's add this number to the phone as a new contact. Let's touch the Create Contact button. When the new contact screen opens, it'll show the on-screen keyboard. If you want to close the keyboard to see the screen better, you can click the back button once. To bring the keyboard back up, click on any one of the data entry fields. Let's enter a name for the contact. It already has the number entered under phone. It sets the number as mobile by default. We can press mobile to bring up an option to label the phone as home, work, or other. We can enter an email address if we like. Below the contact, we can select custom groups, ringtones, message alerts, and vibration patterns for this particular contact. When we're happy with the information, we can press Save to save the contact. This is the saved information for the contact. We can edit the contact by pressing the Edit button. We can also press the star icon at the top right of the screen to add this contact to the favorites list at the top of the phone app. We can see that it goes from white to gold. We can get back to the phone app by pressing the back button until we are there, or we can press the home button. And then we can touch the phone app again. Favorites. Here we can see the contact favorite we added earlier. Selecting the contact listed in the favorites will bring up the contact information and allow you to phone, text, or edit the contact. Contacts. Here we can see some existing contacts, as well as the contact we created earlier. Again, we can select the contact, and then phone, text, or edit the contact. Let's exit back to the home screen by pressing the home button on the phone. Contacts. Let's touch Contacts to open it. We can see that this brings us back to the contacts in the phone app we saw before. We've already covered adding a contact. Let's press the home button again to exit the app. Messaging. Messaging is the default app used to send text messages. These are not email messages, but instead text messages sent directly to another cell phone. Let's click on the messaging app to open it. We currently don't have any text message conversations, but if we did, they would show up listed below by number or by contact name. We can create a new text message from here by clicking on the New Message button. In the Enter Recipient section, we can enter one or more phone numbers or contacts. The default keyboard only has letters on it. To be able to enter numbers, we need to click on the 123 SYM at the bottom left of the keyboard. This will allow you to enter numbers and symbols. Pressing ABC will switch you back. Enter the name of the contact or the phone number. Touch in the message field. Enter your message, and then press the Send button. We will exit the app by clicking the Home button again. Internet. The Internet can be launched by touching the Internet Browser app icon. The default Internet app is the Android browser. The browser will open the home page, which in this case is google.com. If we don't touch the screen for a couple of seconds, the browser address bar will close. If we drag the screen down, it'll show again at the top. We can go to a web page by touching the address bar, and then using the on-screen keyboard to enter a web page, and then press Go. We can also open more than one web page by touching this button just to the right of the address bar. This will minimize the current web page. Touching the plus icon will open a new web page. Drag down to show the address bar. We can now see that there are two open web pages, and by clicking this button again, we can see the two visible here, then we can scroll through them. We can swipe between them and touch one of the web pages to open it. We can close any of the open web pages by touching the minus sign to the top right of each web page, minimized. Let's touch the home screen again to exit. One of the first things I do on a new Android device is install a different internet browser, as I don't like this one. I prefer to use the Google Internet Browser app Chrome. I would recommend that you download and install this app to use for browsing the internet. A future tutorial will go over the Chrome app, and I will link it here. Apps. The Apps button will open up the Apps and Widgets screen. We can see that the Apps screen is currently selected at the top. This lists all the apps installed on the device. By default, it will list the apps installed on the phone as part of Android or by the manufacturer. At the bottom of the screen, we can see the three dots with the left one highlighted to show that we have 3 total screens of apps and are currently on the first screen. We can swipe the screen to move through the available apps. The device starts off in alphabetical order. If you install any new apps on the phone, they will show up at the very end of the list here. We can see the SCR Pro app I installed on the phone, which I am using to record this tutorial. We can launch any of the apps by touching them. We can also have one of the apps show up on one of the home screens. To do this, touch and hold the app. This will open the home screen to allow you to place the app. If we drag our finger to either side of the screen, it'll scroll through the available home screens. When we find the screen we want, we just need to place the icon and let go. If we want to move the icon, we can touch and hold it again, and then place it in a new location. We can also delete app shortcuts from the home screen by touching and holding it, and then dragging it to remove. Let's open back up the Apps and Widgets screen. If you want to just see the apps that you have downloaded to the device, and not the ones installed by the manufacturer, you can touch the Downloaded Apps button. Unless you jailbreak your phone, these are the only apps that you will be able to uninstall from the device. There's currently just the single app that I have installed. Touch the back button in the top left to return to the Apps and Widgets screen. Let's touch to select the widget screen. Widgets are tiles that can be placed on the home screen that show updated information from an app installed on the device. Some widgets show the clock and weather, email messages, calendar information, and stuff like that. By looking at the bottom of the screen, we can see that there is a lot of available screens showing installed widgets. Many apps you install will come with widgets to show you the most recent information without having to open the app. We will add the Calendar widget, just like we added the app shortcut to the home screen before. We touch and hold, then move to a screen, select the correct location, and then release. After we release the widget, we will see an orange border with an orange dot on each side. We can use these to change the size of the widget on the screen. Touching outside the widget will place it on the screen. Any of the widgets and icons can be rearranged as we saw earlier. Let's touch the Home button to return. Google Play Store. The Google Play Store is used to download and install new apps to your device. The default layout has the Play Store icon on the right side of the screen. If you don't have it here or removed it, you can open it by touching Apps, select Apps, and then in an alphabetical order we'll find the Play Store. Touching the Play Store will launch it. The default Play Store screen shows highlighted items promoted by the Play Store at the bottom. At the top right is the search icon we can use to search through all available Play Store content. If we want to browse or search by just a single category, we can select it at the top. The options to choose from are apps, games, movies and TV, music, books, and newsstand. Let's touch to select apps. This way our searches will be limited to apps only. At the bottom are the apps that we might find interesting. At the top we have categories like top paid, top free, top grossing, top new paid, top new free, and the currently trending apps. We can scroll through the list by swiping the screen up to show more apps. Let's click on the search icon at the top right to search the Google Play Store. The on-screen keyboard will open at the bottom to enter the search term. We will search for the Twitter app here to review on how to install a new app. As we start typing the name, we will see that it shows the apps that match the search term. We can either finish typing the name and touch to select Twitter, or touch the hourglass. Let's now touch the Twitter tile. This will open the app screen. There are screenshots showing the app, the number of downloads, date uploaded, the size of the download. If we swipe down a bit, we have the description and reviews at the bottom. If we decide we want to install the app, we can just click the Install button. If we agree that the requested information is alright to be viewed by the selected app, we touch to select the Accept button. We will then see the app download and install. When the installation is finished, we'll return to the home screen by pressing the Home button. Any newly installed apps will show up on one of the home screens, where there is available space. It will also show up in the Apps menu of all the installed apps at the end. It can be added to any one of the home screens as needed, as we saw before. If not already there, Press the Home button to return. The Recent Apps menu. We can open back up any of the previously running apps on the phone that are still running by holding the Home button down for a couple of seconds. At the top of the screen, we have tiles showing any running apps. If there are too many to fit them all on the screen, we can scroll through them by swiping the screen. We can open any of the previously running apps by touching the tile. We can close out one of the running apps by swiping the tile to the left or right. We can close all the open apps on the phone at the same time by touching the Close All button. This also closes the Recent Apps menu. When we open back up the Recent Apps screen, we can see that because we closed all the apps, it says No Recent Apps. Android also features a Task Manager app. Task Manager is used to view the active apps, downloaded apps, and RAM status. We can open the Task Manager by touching the Task Manager button at the bottom left of the screen. Active Applications is selected by default. It lists the number of open applications with each application listed individually below. In this case, we just have the single Internet application that's currently launched. Each app shows the RAM and CPU usage. We can close out of an app by touching the End button. If we want to close out of all the apps at the same time, we can press the End All button. Downloaded. This lists any installed apps that you have installed on the phone, if any. Any system apps or ones bundled by the phone provider like the Verizon apps cannot be uninstalled and do not show up here, unless you jailbreak your phone. You can see the total amount of storage space on the device on the right, and the free space on the left. Each installed app will be listed with the name, storage space used, and an uninstall button that can be used to remove the app from the device. RAM. This screen is used to close out any of the open background apps and to clear the system memory. This will close down more than just the apps listed in the Active Apps screen we reviewed earlier. In the middle of the screen under RAM status, it shows the amount of RAM currently being used, and the total available. In this case, it's using 1.03 gigabytes of 1.56 gigabytes. Let's click the Clear Memory button. We can see it closed 40 applications. These are the background processes that were running on the phone. Closing these background apps will free up system resources and help your phone run faster. In this case, it dropped down to 797 megabytes. Let's press the Home button again to exit. The Quick Settings and Notification menu. The Quick Settings and Notification menu is accessed by dragging your finger down from the top of the screen. At the top of the screen are the Quick Settings icons. By default, it only shows 5 icons. You can see additional settings by swiping your finger to scroll to the left or right. This button in the top right toggles the Detailed view that shows all the Quick Settings icons available at the same time. If we look at the icons, we can see that each one shows with an icon and a bar at the bottom that is green if it's turned on or enabled. Pressing any setting will enable or disable it. Pressing the screen rotation will turn the green off to show that it's now off. Pressing it again, it's again green showing it's enabled. In the middle of the screen is the brightness control bar. This controls how bright the screen is. The brighter the screen is, the easier it is to see. You can manually drag the slider to the right to get brighter, or the left to get dimmer. Or if you prefer, you can set auto, and the screen brightness will change based on the available light. At the bottom of the screen is the Notifications section. This section will show notification information, like new text messages, emails, missed phone calls, and any other information that Android thinks you need to know. Here we can see a notification that we received a new email message. We have a couple options right on the notification screen where we can archive or reply to the email. We can also click on the message to open the Gmail app. Any notifications can be touched to open the app or the settings screen that needs attention. You can swipe any of the individual entries to the left or right of the screen to close it out. Or you can clear all the message at the same time with the Clear button. The Settings button in the top right of the screen will open the Details Settings screen for all system settings. I will not cover this now, but when the tutorial becomes available, I will link to it here. To close out of the Quick Settings and Notification menu, you can press the back button, the home button, or swipe the screen from the bottom up. This tutorial should have provided a good overview of the Android operating system. More Android tutorials will follow in the weeks and months to come, so make sure to subscribe to my channel or check back later.